Hi, Sexy J, quick and dirty time once again, and as promised, we're continuing with transitions, contrast, right? So contrast is the big key idea here. Big key idea, sounds kind of redundant. Contrast. Okay, I'm running out of room on the board. Okay, contrast. And as we said before, the location of contrast, we'll do a little bit of review on that though, but this one is the more advanced contrast, okay? It is an advanced contrast because if you look at these answer choices here, look at them. None of them, literally none of them, have a contrast meaning in them. So we say, oh wait, is J actually, no, I'm never wrong, guys, but at least not on SAT reading or writing. So how could this be a contrast question? So I'm getting these from the advanced cache of questions from Khan Academy because the transition doesn't have to be just what's being asked for here. Look here. Though. The word though is a contrast, right? They did not provide it in the answer choice, but it is a given. So really what I'm looking for is what word here goes with though. And that makes it a contrast question. So then, if it is though, that's a contrast, right? Then I can get rid of the ones that for sure cannot be a contrast. And this is very much a means of elimination. Because additionally would mean, what you guys know what additionally means, right? You are going along in the same direction. So it's really unlikely to be used in conjunction with though. And accordingly, and consequently, a very, very, very close to meaning. And when I have transitions that are very, very close to meaning, without one of them being more broad or more specific, really unlikely they're going to be the answer. Because accordingly and consequently both mean, because of what I just said, I'm going to say this, okay? He was doing really great in his job. Accordingly, he expected a promotion, okay? Or he committed a lot of errors. Consequently, he was demoted, right? A lot of those are going to be sentence one causes something in sentence two. So those are not contrasts, those would actually be more cause and effect. Therefore, you might not be sure of what ultimately does, right? What kind of transition is that and whatever, but it doesn't even matter. Because I saw the word though, so I know it's a contrast question. And A, C, and D, they cannot be contrast, so they are out. So our answer here is B, ultimately. Now, since we're on this question, we might as well define what ultimately means. Ultimately means at the end. I know we don't really talk about like the actual literal meaning of words too much. Ultimately means in the end, or the final goal or final step. So what's going on here? The letter was addressed to somebody local, but the end goal was to get to the leaders. So that's the contrast right there. That's why we have the word though. So just like I did in the previous videos, if I do have a contrast question, then yeah, I do need a set of words that mean contrast, like local, and then leaders from England and Europe. Those would be contrast. And then why is it ultimately? Because right now we are addressing the local, but later on my final goal is ultimately to do this, right? So you can say like, oh yeah, right now I just started working as a waiter, but ultimately I want to have my own restaurant, right? So that's a contrast in terms of division of time, and that's how we use the word ultimately for contrast. So this is a advanced question, because it is a contrast question, but like you said, you wouldn't know that by looking at any of these words, but as long as I make sure to take that part in, like, oh, it's a contrast, and I can make sure it's a contrast, again, because it's a contrast between the word local and the leaders from England. So you cross them out, cross them out, cross them out, and the answer here is B, ultimately. Okay, so we're going to do another video on the contrast questions. The other ones are going to be more the contrast words that are a little bit less common. This one was just a way for them to disguise a word, so an extra advanced question. So good job watching the video, because now you guys are extra advanced. Good job. Study every day with who? Sexy J. That's the best way. You already know. Bye-bye.